It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to a really strange time. And a little bit late from when I said I was going to start to some, and a little earlier than when I said I was going to start to others. It's just been a kind of a screwy morning. So let me try to bring you up to date. First of all, welcome to Monday Travel and Cruise Industry News Podcast, and it's the 18th day of November 2024, coming to you from Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. Brought to you by Will U.S., the owner of Scoot Around, and by chilliescruises. We got headlines on a bunch of stories today. The lead story actually is going to be a personal story about my trials and tribulations of the first day of this cruise. Also, this morning, we're going to talk about Carnival bringing back the Midnight Buffet. Hard Rock Cafe and Casino opens in Bristol, Virginia. All departure times for Carnival Panorama changed. I showed a little displeasure at Carnival for that one. Adventures of the Seas Transatlantic delayed. Symphony of the Seas changes on yesterday's sailing, and a whole lot more here at, I guess this is 8:30-ish Eastern Standard Time, and I have no idea what time it is here. The times are different here. Anyway. All right, today is National Vichyssoise Day. That's not my favorite, but I can deal with it. Also, this day in history, in 1928, Walt Disney animated cartoon Steamboat Willie premiered at the Colonial Theater in New York City, debuting a character, Mickey Mouse. So this is actually Mickey Mouse's birthday. So maybe we can celebrate Mickey Mouse's birthday with some vichyssoise. Ooh, ugh.
What is vichyssoise?
That's cold soup. Hot Air Tom's, by the way, here in my cabin in the background. Now, that's another thing, folks, because of the whole reason behind this morning. I'm doing the show from my room rather than hauling stuff down and back. They just opened the port, so everybody's going to be rushing to get off the ship. And the other thing is I'm on a kind of a time constraint. I found out rather late yesterday afternoon that Elizabeth on location's in Puerto Plata today with the Resilient Lady. So we're going to get off the ship as soon as possible this morning and go meet Elizabeth. I'm sure there might be an adult beverage involved and maybe a bite of lunch. Then she's got to be back on her ship earlier than planned. We actually have to be on our ship earlier than planned because we had to change clocks last night. So it is 8:45 Eastern Time right now. It's 9:45 here in the Dominican Republic. So, and we're on ship's time, which is 9:45. So this confuses me constantly when I'm traveling. Anyway, that's what's going to happen. All right, if you're listening via the podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. All right, so I entitled the show this morning, and quite frankly, folks, I am using a personal experience as my news thing, the new lead story, when I called it, Sometimes Things Just Go Terribly Wrong. So I have to tell you, I mean, before the cruise started, man, it's been a wonderful week. Had a couple great days in Myrtle Beach. We went to the aquarium in Myrtle Beach, which was a nice show. We went to Roger's niece and nephew's restaurant in Myrtle Beach, and I had one of the nicest seafood meals I've ever had. Anyway, then on our way to, we were traveling separately, Hot Air Tom and Cindy in their car and me in my car. And we stopped in Jacksonville, had a great lunch with Roger and his son, Devin, which, I've stopped many times. So Hot Air Tom and Cindy have stopped before and eaten with Roger. Found out Roger's going to be on this cruise. I didn't know that. So he is. And we've, matter of fact, we just had breakfast with him a little while ago. All right. So then I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express, which I've stayed there before. I'm very comfortable there. The rooms are way more than I ever need. Plus, it's got a great workspace, although I was so damn tired I didn't want to work. But that can happen too. Then on embarkation day, it's maybe a 10-minute drive with traffic from the Holiday Inn Express around to the where we're sailing from on the Norwegian Epic. So I drove straight there, slowed down at one light a little bit. Maybe if it took me 10 minutes, I'd be surprised. I really wasn't watching the clock that much. I drove straight in. I drove right around to luggage drop off. It took me a couple minutes to get one of the guys to see my hands waving madly out the window to come get my luggage out of the car, because I can't walk around and get luggage out. So he took it, and then I drove, like 200 yards to the entrance to the parking facility. Rolled down the window, told the girl I need the special handicap. She said, "Okay, come. Lane 4 is open. Come right over to lane 4." She goes over there, and they do things a little differently now there in Port Canaveral. She got on the phone and she called. Right there. I was at the place where you get the ticket, and she did something, punched a button or something, got a hold of the people and says, "I have a registration for a handicap car with a ramp." Guys, the lady takes a couple of minutes and says, "Okay, here's your ticket." That was my ticket to park. And she says, "Go ahead." Now, the only problem I had with all of that was I had a little bit of trouble finding a place to park. There were still people coming off the ship, and so all the empty places from them weren't opened up. So I had to drive around a couple minutes longer than normal to find a parking place. So I found a parking place finally. Got out, unloaded my scooter, stowed the ramp on the scooter back up, and strapped it down for sitting there for a week while I'm going to be gone. Grabbed my one bag that I was carrying on with me out of the car. From when I left the car, and again, I've got maybe a 200-yard roll down and across the street and into the building to check in. I went through check-in and security and all the things you do to check in, and got my room card and went up the ramp, following Hot Air Tom and Cindy up the ramp. By the time I got on the boat, it was 10 minutes from when I left the car. That's pretty damn smooth. All right. So then automatically did my muster drill. That was great. We had a bite to eat. That was fun. I had a meeting set up with the group. This is a cruise ship doctor cruise. So I set up, and I have a picture of that. As a matter of fact, that Tom took. I didn't have time to load pictures today, folks. Sorry about that. But I set up and had name tags that I was handing out for everybody. Some of the group came by, some didn't. Some didn't get on board until after I was there from 2 to 3. So in the meanwhile, I was doing that, they announced that the rooms were ready. So after the 3 o'clock, I was able to pack my stuff up and go to the room. That's when everything goes to hell. I get up on 10th floor. I find the room. Now I've got to dodge suitcases with the chair, and the hallways on Epic are not the widest. So let's say that was a little difficult. But okay, I can put up with it. Sometimes I have to holler for one of the guys that are bringing luggage to help and move stuff. Sometimes I squeeze through it and cuss. But anyway, I got to the room. It's not an ADA room. The door is about this wide, and the chair is this wide. I mean, it's 6 inches, and it's not even close. 6 inches at least doesn't fit through the door. So I go back, fighting the luggage now to get back to the elevator and go down to guest services. One guy, there was a long line already at guest services, and a guy was checking to see if he can help anybody. He realized the situation. I explained the situation that I was in, so he pulls me off to the side, goes in the back room to get the special needs coordinator. It was a few minutes until she was available. She comes out. I explained the whole situation to her, and of course, she tries to blame it on me. Oh, well, you must have booked it wrong. I said, no, ma'am. The first thing I ever do before I book a cruise is to make sure there's an ADA room available, a wheelchair accessible room. She says, well, we would not make a mistake like that. I pull up my phone, I scroll back through my emails, and I said, okay, right here is your receipt. It says, we have received your health questionnaire and your accessibility request. Everything will be taken care of. We look forward to seeing you on November the 16th. And here's the number to call the special needs coordinator if I have any other things I need. I said, now, lady, would you send out that to somebody that doesn't have special needs? No. Well, we will have to look into that. I said, okay, look into that. But what are we going to do about the room? She said, okay, I will see if I can find you a room, and I'll call you. I said, you're going to call me where? Well, go sit in your room, and I'll call you. I said, lady, the chair won't go in the door. Oh. So she says, okay, let me work on this. Call me. Here's my phone number. Get to a house phone, call me in 30 minutes and go get something to eat or, a drink or whatever. I said, okay, then I could do that. 30 minutes later, I call her back. She says, okay, we don't have anything available. All of our 42 ADA cabins are taken. I said, okay. So what are you going to do? She said, what do you mean, what are you going to do? I said, lady, I purchased an ADA cabin. My chair will not fit in anything else. You're not going to let me park my wheelchair in the middle of the hall and cause problems with all your other passengers. She says, no, we can't do that. I said, plus, I can't walk more than 4 or 5 steps. I couldn't walk from the door into the cabin. She says, okay, let me contact everybody to see if they really need an ADA cabin. She says, call me back in an hour. Okay. So I went off and I don't know what I did then. I might have done some filming, anything to stay busy. Needless to say, I'm still about half panicked. So about an hour later, I call her. She says, I've got you a cabin. The people are moving out now. She says it's going to take us maybe because of, all of our housekeeping people are busy with their normal duties. But she says, give me an hour to an hour and a half to get the room cleaned and have it ready for you. I said, fine, I can do that. At least I know I got a room coming. So I leave, and I had already run into Gerald Yukovich, a.k.a. Ivan Cox, the author of The Cruise Ship Doctor, and my co-host for this cruise, I guess you could call him that, and my friend. I've interviewed him on the show before. I had run into him, or I talked to him. I'd taken his name tag up to the room because they didn't make it to my meeting, and gave him the thing, and we made arrangements to have a drink. So about 15 minutes early for me meeting him for a drink, maybe 20 minutes early. I was on deck 5, where I talked to the lady in guest services, because there's a phone that I can get to and use. So I go down to the elevator. I take the elevator up to 6, where I'm going to meet Jerry in 20 minutes or so. It was a pretty full elevator, but I fit in. As I'm backing out of the elevator, now remember, if an elevator is empty, there's kind of a mirror thing on the back, and I can see to back out if I have to back. I prefer to turn around and go out forward. But the elevator is full. I can't see the mirror in front of me. So I'm backing out, and I got a little close on my left side. And my phone, which is in my little carry bag, scraped against the thing, and it pulled it off the selfie stick, and the phone kind of flips up in the air, comes down. Now in the meantime, I'm backing out. The phone pops up in the air, bounces kind of down from my leg on the floor, pops up 3 or 4 inches, and goes straight down that little crack in the elevator shaft. I'm on deck 6. The elevator goes to deck 4, and it's the shaft underneath that. My phone went down the crack. Now, folks, I go into a full-blown panic attack. So I get back on the next elevator, go back to guest services, wait through the line, get a hold of somebody. He says, oh my God, come on, let's go see what we can do. The guy leaves behind the desk at guest services and come out with me. It was terrific. We go down, which elevator is it now? I'm thinking it's this elevator, and I'm thinking, is that the right one? So he looks down, he says, I don't see it. I look down, I don't see it either. So we're checking all the other elevators, and maybe I made a mistake. No, I mean, you could see it. He says, hold on a minute. Let me go get somebody from maintenance. I said, okay. So I wait. He goes and gets a guy from maintenance. The guy comes back and says, which elevator is this? I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's this one. He says, okay. Don't panic. So the guy from guest services calls that elevator. We have to wait for it to come back. It comes back. And he shuts the elevator down. He's on the phone. He says, elevator number 7 is shut down. The guy has to get down underneath the elevator shaft so he doesn't have to worry about the thing coming down and smashing him. Gets underneath the thing, crawls in there, and says, I don't find a phone here. He says, can we try the next elevator to it? I said, yes, that's a wonderful idea. So we go back, they call the next elevator down. We go through the same thing. Elevator number 6 is now shut down. Okay. Couple minutes later, this guy's down on his belly, crawling into the elevator. I don't know what's down there. I've never been in an elevator shaft. He says, I found a phone. I could hear him not even on the phone for the other guy. I could hear him come up from the elevator shaft. So this guy's as excited as I am. I go, oh my God, Elizabeth, I feel the big one coming. So it takes him a couple minutes to crawl up the stairs, and he comes up, he says, is this your phone? I said, oh my God, yes, it's my phone. And I'm expecting the thing to be just shattered. Works fine. This is the phone, folks, that fell 3 decks to a concrete floor without even cracking the screen. That's my story.
If they would have found somebody else's phone down there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would have been awful. All right, guys. That's my story about no matter how much you plan, things can just go wrong. And here's my philosophy. And it's an old adage. Man, when life deals you a lemon, make lemonade. It's a whole lot better than going into panic attacks because you're going to survive no matter what happens. And I did. And the show's on. And I'll actually get to some news after a quick break from one of my fine network sponsors. All right, so the top story this morning, folks. This wasn't really a news story, but it's worth mentioning. When they first started televising curling, I, like many people, made fun of the sport. That's the one where you've got the big block that they call a stone, and a guy pushes it down the ice, and you have the guys called sweepers that get out there and sweep the ice to make the stone go faster or to curve, and it's called curling. Well, actually, I started watching it, and it's a pretty interesting sport. But I posted late last night a story on my blog about adaptive curling. Man, it's worth the read. So go to accessadventure.net and take a look at just a great story from up in Milwaukee on adaptive curling. The Midnight Buffet is coming back to Carnival Cruise Line. Carnival expanding their late night food options to include more variety in the ship's buffet that starts at midnight. Carnival brand ambassador John Heald announced the news on his Facebook page over the weekend. Around midnight, food options will move from the pizza chefs to the Lido buffet. Now Carnival cruisers will be able to have items like chicken tenders, soup, sandwiches, cookies, and more at the new Carnival Midnight Buffet. I have a feeling the buffets will never come up to what they were in the 70s, when the Midnight Buffet was just the highlight of every cruise you took. It was like that for years. They were fabulous. Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Bristol, Virginia, celebrated its highly anticipated grand opening this week with Hard Rock's iconic guitar smash ceremony. When Bristol Casino, future home of Hard Rock, opened in July 2022, it was Virginia's first casino. The event featured Hard Rock executives and partners, state and local officials, local community members, and business and civic leaders, and was followed by the casino officially opening its doors to the public. Located at 500 Gate City Highway in Bristol, the 620,000 square foot resort features nearly 1,500 slot machines, more than 50 table games, a sports book, 300 plus hotel rooms, and 7 unique dining options, including a signature Hard Rock Cafe. Take a trip. If you have some mobility issues, we've got big discounts on some of our most popular rental locations for the fall and winter. Take advantage of these limited time promotions on scooter and wheelchair rentals nationwide. From Orlando or Las Vegas, 15% off until December 31st. From Phoenix, Los Angeles, Anaheim, New Orleans, Washington, D.C., and New York City, 10% off until December 31st. Call Scoot Around toll free 888-441-7575 or reserve online. Use SRN 11137 for the top rates. Carnival Cruise Line has reached out to travelers booked on every upcoming sailing plan for Carnival Panorama, with news that the ship's departure times have been changed. Instead of leaving her home port of Long Beach, California at 4:30 p.m. as originally scheduled, and has been the schedule for a long time, the ship will now depart at 4 p.m. Pacific time. While this shift is only a 30-minute change, it could impact travelers planning to drive to the cruise port or those who prefer later terminal arrival appointments. No explanation has been offered for this earlier departure time. It's the same change, however, that Carnival already announced for Carnival Pride from Baltimore, Carnival Spirit from Mobile, as well as Seattle, Washington. My complaint is, folks, it just seems to be a way for the cruise lines to screw their customers again. And why keep inching this out one at a time, Carnival? You know, if you're changing all your ships to sail at 4 o'clock, say it. Get it over with once and for all. Notify all your customers that here's the latest screw job. You're going to be sailing 30 minutes earlier or an hour earlier, whatever it might be, and just plan accordingly. Yeah, how about that, Carnival? This change is a little different than Carnival's that really doesn't show at least any reason. There's actually a reason for this change. After heavy rains and winds delayed the Adventure of the Seas routine maintenance dry dock schedule, guests set to embark on the Adventure of the Seas November 24th voyage will need to wait a little longer. The ship sailing from Barcelona will now depart on Tuesday, November 26th, instead of Sunday, that's tomorrow, November 24th. No, not tomorrow. Shit. Whoops. That's the wrong story, folks. I went back and re-recorded it without the... sorry about that. I didn't mean to do that, honest. I didn't listen to the re-recording. Oh, I was reloaded and it was slow loading. I'll finish the story. This wasn't just any rainfall, folks, that delayed this. This was the flooding in Italy that we talked about before. That's what's caused the delay in the dry dock to get out of there. So they're delaying the departure 2 days from whatever it was to whatever it was. Anyway, it was supposed to sail out of Barcelona on a Sunday, and now it's sailing on Tuesday. Anyway, if you're on the next Adventure of the Sea cruise, please ignore my news story, but check with your travel provider to see when you're going to get on the boat. It's going to be 2 days difference, but at least it's a good reason for that.
Is that the cruise Katie's on?
No, this is in Europe.
No, when it gets to, it's coming here to Florida. She was on one of those.
And not on Adventure, no. Okay. Adventure of the Seas. This is over in Europe, and the next cruise is in Europe. All right. Hopefully there will be no more mistakes in this last story from Symphony, which I also haven't heard because that was loading while I was doing my previous story. Come on. Due to a problem in San Juan, Puerto Rico, Symphony of the Seas is unable to visit the popular port on her current sailing, which departed from Miami today. Actually departed yesterday on the 17th. This has impacted all of the ship's planned Eastern Caribbean itinerary. Guests were informed of the change just a day or two prior to embarkation, which can be quite a surprise for travelers who had hoped to visit the planned ports of call. We've recently been advised by the Port Authority in San Juan that due to technical issues with the pier, the work that must be done and cleared by the U.S. Coast Guard for accepting a ship of our size, we've had to adjust our itinerary for our sailing, the notification read. As a result, we'll skip our visits to San Juan and St. Martin. Today is still a planned visit to Perfect Day at Coco Cay. The ship will then spend Tuesday at sea, enjoy a stop in Labadee, Haiti from 7 to 5 on Wednesday. That is followed by Puerto Plata, that's where I am today, on Thursday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Friday will be another day at sea, and Nassau has been added for Saturday, November 23rd from 7:30 to 4. Wow, that's a total change of itinerary, except for Perfect Day at Coco Cay. I don't know. I'm not sure why you had to change the whole thing. Why not do St. Martin and, skip Haiti or something? Anyway, once again, the cruise line just kind of put the screws to the cruisers. All right. Experience Alaska at an affordable rate. VR1 balconies are only $1,289, including taxes and port charges. MSC Poesia sails from Seattle, May 25th, 2026. Book now. Call 434 258-96264, or go to bit.ly/Poesia-Alaska1. All right. That is the news portion of today's show. Despite my embarrassment of the four-letter language that I shouldn't have done. Again, my apologies. I hope I didn't offend any. And Hot Air Tom's here, so I know I didn't offend him. Yeah, I probably did, but if he said something, I'd throw my oxygen unit at him. All right, let's go see who's in the chat room at this crazy, ridiculous early hour. That's Hot Air Tom in the background waving. You can see his hand. Oh, we got a bunch of people from X here. Suleiman, hello, how are you? Moses, I'm not going to try to pronounce the last name. And real good, perfect, said thank you very much. A bunch of comments, wow. He's commenting on every story. That's pretty cool. Moses, thank you very much. There's Mike's with us. Mike's from on the other side of the pond. How you doing, Mike? Sam, and another name I'm not going to try to pronounce, says hello. And from Nigeria. And a scam, can you help me? Yeah, that's a scam. No, I do not help folks if you're begging for money or whatever. I can be your homeboy. No, thank you. Katie is with us. Good morning, Katie. Have a wonderful day. Say hi to Elizabeth. I will. There's Kenneth. Kenneth's with us. Says, good morning, everybody. You look happy. Must have a great cruise so far. Yeah, well, it's had its issues, but once I got my phone back, yeah, it's been great since then. Food's been wonderful. I'm finding more issues, and maybe it's because I've got somebody with me, and Cindy, that has had some issues with her chair. So I'm paying attention maybe more than I would normally. So, and I'm noticing things that I might have ignored personally that I'm seeing. So, yeah. Other than that, good cruise. I'm gonna have quite a bit of things to say about the ship. Some of them good, and some of them things that need to be worked on. And then there are some things that is not really going to be fixable on the ship. And by the way, if you guys can see, and this is for not Elizabeth, it's for Emily. Emily, there's the sink in my room. It's behind me. Just letting you know. And they're all like that.
Can I make a comment as a post?
Yes. Hot Air Tom is going to make a comment since he's not at his computer writing bad things. Go ahead.
So Cindy had a problem last night, and in the cruise groups, it's always a problem talking about people leaving dishes and things outside their doors.
Yeah.
And part of what Chillie alluded to, this ship has some thresholds to get to different places that are a significant little bump, which his front tires don't swivel like Cindy's. Cindy's swivel, so when they hit a bump and they're not straight on, it tends to just stop her. And there's one right at the hallway to get into the elevator bank on the aft elevators. So she has to basically maneuver to get 90 degrees changed in the hallway to get into the elevator area. And she's backing up, and her little rollover wheel smashes the glass somebody had left at the cabin door. So we got broken glass all over the place. And I'm thinking, oh, that's one reason not to put stuff in the hallway here. We get to the elevator bank, and I'm thinking, I'll have a knock on the guy's door. At least let him know there's broken glass there, so he doesn't get cut if they're walking out in their bare feet or something. So I knock, and somebody was actually there, and I pointed out the broken glass. And he said, I didn't even put that there. So it was just some other guy drinking that decided, oh, here's a good door to drop a glass off of. We'll put it in the hall here. So just think of these things that I was more worried about drunks running into the stuff when it's out in the hallway and getting cut. But wheelchairs can back up and do damage.
All right, thanks, Tom. And yeah, that's a great point. Don't just drop off a glass, but you put your glass in your room. Let your room steward take it.
These rooms have plenty of space to do that.
Yeah. There's cabinet space galore, and for a smaller room, there's a ton of places to store stuff. But anyway, it's a trait. People put food trays back out there. I hate that. Yeah, especially when think about a wheelchair or a scooter's got to run past that and people at the same time. Doesn't work. All right, Gretchen's with us up in Ohio. Says, where are you? It looks like an office. No, this is my cabin. This is a ADA cabin 9233.
That's it.
So I'll be getting a film. Did a film clip. I don't know when I have time to edit. Gretchen says, "Oh my God, what a snafu!" Geez, you should make a commercial for your phone. No kidding. That's an idea.
I can't believe the screen didn't get cracked. That is amazing. I dropped the phone 2 feet and it has a cracked screen. Right
Maybe it's because it's an old phone. They were made better then. I shouldn't say that. Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll talk to AT&T. Says, okay, here, you guys need to sponsor me. That'd be a good thing to try anyway. Bob's with us. Good morning, Bob. Hope you're having a good Christmas. Still, despite everything, yes, indeed, I am. Kenneth says, sorry, Chillie. I would have waited till the end of your story. It looks like you're not having the greatest start, but it will get better. Hang in there. Oh, yeah. It's, by 7 o'clock last night, or not. Yeah, night before last. 7 o'clock Saturday night. There we go. Everything's been fine since then. I mean, except I was a basket case and slept like a log. But yeah, because of by the time I got to my room, the new room, I didn't even open my suitcase. I unpacked my meds, took the pills I was behind on, and went to bed.
You forgot one thing though, Chillie. The room was freezing that first night, and you couldn't get any heat.
Yeah, it was stuck on full air conditioning and freeze anyway. So it was 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon before they came up to fix the system in the room so I could get some heat on in here, because it was way too cold for me. Then it got way too hot because I had the heater up, on full, trying to get it to warm up some. So back this morning, it's a little bit normal. I put my sweatshirt on to go to breakfast, and then I was so busy trying to get the show, and I didn't even take it off. I'm more than comfortable now, so that's good. Bob says, we went to Hard Rock Cafe over the weekend. Very nice, very good. Yeah, Bob's down in that general neck of the woods, not that far from where he is to Bristol. Kenneth says, Chillie, didn't you lose your phone on the Panama Canal cruise or left in a taxi? Yeah, that's right. That one was, it had fallen out of the bag in the trunk of the taxi. And I didn't discover it until the taxi was gone. And you can't call those people back. And I had no phone to call them. So, yeah, that one was and I had to sail without my phone. And then in the meantime, I got a hold of Nate in Alaska. He got a hold of somebody in Fort Lauderdale, and they got the number of the Uber driver. I sent that along, called the Uber driver. He had found the phone and was trying to figure out how to get it back to me. And he actually called my home number and called my niece. And so between Nate's people and my niece, the phone was there. So I flew into Fort Lauderdale instead of, I think I was supposed to fly straight back to Richmond, if I'm not mistaken on that one. I flew straight into Fort Lauderdale Got my phone. Nate's friends brought it to me at the airport. Got the phone back and then flew to Richmond and drove home. So yeah, that's the second time that I've had a panic attack with this phone. Yeah, maybe I ought to shoot the phone. Nah.
It's had more adventures than you.
Yeah, it's had more adventures than me, Tom says. Yeah. Kenneth says, good morning, Tom. Cindy, if you're there. Cindy's not. She stayed in bed. Kenneth, that was Tom waving at you. Gretchen says, you weren't actually off to a great start. No, but we're making up for it. Yeah, this is my room. I just, in trying to save time this morning, I didn't want to pack everything up and move it out to a location. And, you know, I lost at least a half hour there. Probably some guy drinking orange juice with vodka in it. Yeah. Yeah, it could have been Tom, as a matter of fact.
I don't do that whole way.
All right, guys. That's going to wrap me up today. I do have a couple slight changes. Tomorrow's show is going to be normal. All right. I should have announced this earlier for those of you that come on and leave. But anyway, I'll do it tomorrow. Wednesday show is going to be early again. How early, I'm not sure. But I have an excursion, and you know how much trouble I have finding wheelchair accessible excursions. That's the day in St. Thomas. I have an excursion booked that starts at, guess what time? 11 o'clock. Oh, that's 11 o'clock. Oh, I have to think through the time change now.
That'll be ship time.
That'll be ship time, 11 o'clock, which will be
10 o'clock their time.
10 o'clock at home.
But that's tomorrow, Chillie.
No.
St. Thomas is tomorrow.
And
Tortola is Wednesday.
Is it tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh. I was thinking it was Wednesday. Tomorrow is St. Thomas. Tomorrow I have an excursion. We're going to do tomorrow's show early too. Well, I'm still screwed up.
You need a secretary, scheduler.
I'm going to, I'll let you know on what time when I figure that out and go through the time business again. Oh my God, it's going to drive me nuts. I'll do a show tomorrow, folks. Just have no idea when yet.
Our trip to England is going to be really interesting with the time changes.
There's Cindy. Cindy says, good morning, everybody. Okay, guys, so tomorrow's show will be early. Yeah, sorry about that. Tomorrow's show will be early, and then the Wednesday show, maybe it'll be normal time. Maybe it won't. At this point, who knows? All right, guys. I'm off to see Elizabeth. I need a good hug and a kiss, which will be coming up in the very near future. So that's it for today, guys. Sorry about the little four-letter word there. That was on the tape that I didn't have time to listen to the tape and catch that and put the right version up. Anyway, I hope I didn't offend anybody. All right, that's it for today. Smash that thumbs up button. Thank all you guys from X for being here. And thank you guys that are listening to that on the podcast. I hope I don't get any trouble for that one. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. What else do I say? Stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising. There we go. And all the trouble you can get into on a cruise. But anyway, have a great day, everybody. I'll see everybody back here tomorrow sometime. Awesome, guys. Later. I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.